I would like to take a few minutes today to talk about gun safety. It's something that seems like every gun owner should know these things, but we see it all the time on the news, on the internet, on Facebook, wherever, of people that either honestly don't know better or are just being plain stupid with firearms. I'm gonna be honest, it pisses me off. Every time somebody accidentally shoots themselves, or accidentally shoots somebody else, or they kill somebody because they're being stupid with a firearm, it gives the anti-gunners more ammunition to use against us, to try to restrict our firearm use. I like my guns. I've got all kinds of guns. I go shooting during the summer I go shooting almost every day. The only reason I'm not out shooting today is it's 20 below out there and I don't feel like going out there in the weather. I like my gun. I do not want my gun rights restricted because some idiots don't know the basics of gun safety. So that's why we're here today. I want to talk a little bit about the basics of gun safety, the things that everybody should know. But there's still so many stupid people out there, or maybe just ignorant people. I mean, I shouldn't say stupid. Ignorant people that take guns, do dumb things with them, and the next thing we see on the news that somebody shot their 5-year-old kid, got a hold of their gun and shot themselves and killed themselves. There's somebody who's stupid with a firearm. There are the golden rules of gun safety. If you don't know them, look them up, read them, memorize them. Before you even go out and buy a gun, do everybody a favor, read and know the basic gun safety rules. And a lot with guns, if you don't have any common sense, you don't need to own a gun. It should not have to be said that you shouldn't take a gun and point it at your eyeball and pull the trigger because you want to see what the bullet looked like coming out of the barrel. I've seen that one a couple of times where people they beat themselves in the head because they take the gun, they load it, they point it at their head and pull the trigger because they wanted to see what the bullet looked like coming out of the barrel. I mean, if you're really that dumb, we should probably put you in a padded room by yourself. Like I said, it pisses me off. So, I want to talk a little bit about basic gun safety. If you're just going to leave your gun, like I've got my rack of hunting rifles over here, none of them are loaded. They're sitting in a rack or in a safe. They don't need to be loaded. That way, if they fall over, they can't go off. If somebody gets their hands on it, they're playing with them, they can't shoot themselves. That without having to find the ammo. And like the ammo's on a shelf right above it. It's not like they couldn't find ammo if they wanted to. But it greatly reduces the risk of somebody stupid grabbing the gun and shooting them. So there's only 3 situations where I carry a gun loaded. The first one was when I'm bird hunting. Shotguns. A lot of times I bird hunt with a single shot. A lot of times I hunt with a pump action. In those 2 situations, I put a round in the chamber with a single shot. I leave the hammer down with this pump action. I put the safety on. And I'm out in the middle of the field by myself. There's nobody around. It's fine. And as soon as I get back to the truck or wherever, the round gets taken out of the chamber. The rest of the rounds get taken out of the tube. Gun goes in the back truck in the gun rack in the back window, and I go home. I've never shot anybody while I was out bird hunting. I've never shot myself while I was out bird hunting. The second situation where I carry a loaded gun is when I'm coyote hunting, varmint hunting, predator hunting, when I'm calling. Lately I've been using either a 25-06 or a 308 and a bolt gun. I keep rounds in the magazine. I always keep rounds in the magazine when I'm hunting, but almost never anything in the chamber until I make a stand, and I'm calling. I will put around the chamber of the gun and put safety on, because if I call in a cop, I don't want to make a bunch of noise loading the gun and scare it away while I'm trying to get shot. And the third situation is sometimes, not all the time, if I'm walking around the house, I don't carry it around in the chamber. If I'm going down to the grocery store in a town of 250 people, I don't carry around in the chamber. When I'm hiking out in the woods, I even don't carry around in the chamber. But when I'm carrying for personal defense in town, around the city, a lot of times I will carry around in the chamber of an automatic handgun. And, everybody does that. But the rest of the time, the gun's unloaded. It might have a magazine full on it, but there is not one in the chamber. If there is not around in the chamber, scientifically the gun should not be able to go off. If the gun cannot go off, you cannot shoot yourself. You cannot shoot somebody else. And that's our main problem. People they take their shotguns, they fill them up, they run one in the chamber, and they lean it up just like that. Well, guess what? Cat comes by. Well, that's when hit the box and didn't even go all the way down to the ground. Try it again. The cat walks by. You got a loaded shotgun laying here. Your cat walks by. Boom! Your shotgun just went off. You just blew a hole in the wall. Maybe you blew your cat away. Stupid. We don't need to keep our shotguns loaded. In the event of a home invasion, where you use a shotgun for home defense, like this one. This one's a lot of times in the bedroom closet. There's nothing in the chamber with a shotgun. If you need to put it around in the chamber, it's that fast. It does not take that long to load a shotgun. And by not having one in the chamber the rest of the time, you reduce the risk of shooting your cat. And this should just be common sense. 1911, same way. I keep my gun, I keep it on the nightstand or on a shelf in the closet in the bedroom. Again, that fast to put around in it if I need it. We don't need to keep it loaded. We don't need to have friends come over and their kids run around and somehow get their hands on the gun and pull the trigger. And it goes off because there is a round in the chamber. There's no reason to have a round in the chamber. Unless the gun is actually in your hands or on your person, there should never be a round in the chamber of that firearm. That's just the way I feel about it. You can call it whatever you want. I don't care. But 90% of accidental shootings, accidental discharges could be prevented if people did not leave rounds in the chamber while guns are laying around the house. Like I said, unless that gun is actually in your hand or in a holster on your side or on a sling on your shoulder, there should never be a round in the chamber of that firearm. And that leads me to my second point. Don't point the gun at something if you don't want to shoot it. I don't care if you're playing around with your buddies, like, I'm going to shoot you. Don't do it. That's dumb. Don't point the gun at something you don't want to shoot at. If you don't want to kill it, if you don't want to punch a hole in it, don't point the gun at it. Period. That's all I should have to say on that one. And always treat the guns like it's loaded. I've got 4 guns within my reach right here. None of them are loaded. But I'm still going to check every single one of them when I pick it up, just to make sure. Every single one of these is getting checked to make sure it's not loaded. Single action revolver. Real easy to check. Spin the cylinder, you don't see any flash, it ain't loaded. Auto handgun, no magazine, nothing in the chamber. Again, easy. Always treat it like it's loaded. If you're going to work with it, you're going to play with it, you're going to clean it, whatever, double check. It doesn't take that long to double check. And if it is loaded, not that hard to unload. It doesn't take that long. There's no reason to be fooling around with a gun in your living room that's loaded because you didn't feel like unloading. It takes 2 seconds. Even with a bolt-action rifle, I got the 308 over here. Well, this one doesn't have a quick release on the bottom. Oh, that long. Not loaded. Not a big deal. if you can't have a little common sense and follow basic gun safety rules, you shouldn't own a gun. Like I said, with the 4 things, however many things I just pointed out and talked about, if everybody did those couple things, mainly not leaving guns around with rounds in the chamber, I honestly believe 90% or more of accidental shootings could be prevented, if not completely eliminated. But people have, I don't know if they have no respect for the firearms, or they just don't know any better, or they're just plain stupid. But either way, this all could be prevented, and we'd all live in a much happier place. But we wouldn't have to read on our Facebook page every other week about some 2-year-old grabbing a gun and shooting himself, or shooting his dad, or his mom, or his cousin, or the cat, because the gun was leaning in the corner, loaded, unattended. It's not that big of a deal to leave the guns unloaded. None of my guns are loaded right now, except for the one that I'm carrying. And well, if the shotgun was in the bedroom closet, it'd probably have a couple in the tube. But it's not right now, and it's not loaded. As soon as I take the gun out, whoever it is, I unload it. I don't ever just screw around with loaded guns. So, I'm sorry it's turned into more of a rant than a talk. But I take this very personally. I've had a firearm go off when I did not want it to. And I shot myself with it. I'm not proud to say that. I was stupid. I was foolish. I did not pay attention to what I was doing. And I shot myself in the foot with a .454 Casull, and it cost me a lot of money in medical bills. And it was not fun. But I learned a lot because of it. I learned a lot. That's about all I can say. It just was one of those things where it could have been completely prevented if I would have paid a little bit of attention to what I was doing, or hadn't been carrying the gun loaded, or any of the above. Could have been completely avoided. But I was stupid, and I shot myself. And I'm still alive. I got very lucky. I did not even have to have surgery. The bullet went through my foot, didn't break any bones, it was just a flesh wound. And I was lucky. But not everybody's that lucky. So please, if you own a gun, take the proper precautions and do everything you possibly can to keep that gun safe and to be safe when you're handling that firearm. Thank you. I'll see you next time.